Welcome back. 8:12 now. A Haitian immigrant now in the Volusia County Jail. He is accused of stabbing a couple to death during Daytona Bike Week. Governor Ron DeSantis says the couple would be alive today if Jean Macean had never been allowed into the country in the first place. Florida Bar certified immigration attorney Jean Gihon is joining us live in studio this morning to talk more about this. First of all, great to see you. Thanks to have you back with us.
Thank you, Amy.
I want to talk first about Governor DeSantis coming out, and he very adamant about this particular case would not have happened did we not have sort of this open border policy under the Biden administration. But do we even know how long this particular man has been in the country? How do we know that?
Amy, we don't. Immigration status is not something that is public record. And so the governor and ourselves and the media can't just ask Immigration and Customs Enforcement, hey, what's Mr. Macean's immigration status? How long has he been here? Give us details. Because they don't share that information. What is available are records that show Mr. Macean's been in this country since at least 2016. So obviously that's long before President Biden took office. That's even before President Trump took office. So there's really no way President Biden's border policies have any effect on Mr. Macean being here.
Let's go back to the other point that was made, was that he was apparently arrested on drug charges in 2019 in Orange County. Those charges we know were dropped, right? And so I think a lot of people are asking, well, wouldn't he have been in jail? What would have been if the policy back then if he had been held for that particular crime?
Right. Well, that's very interesting because in 2019, obviously we know that's before President Biden took office. So those were President Trump's immigration policies. So whatever happened as far as ICE detainers and detaining and deporting Mr. Macean for being arrested for these crimes, that would have been a Trump policy. So again, that has nothing to do with President Biden. But what we do know about Mr. Macean is at some point he had a valid Florida driver's license, which you typically cannot get if you don't have a lawful immigration status or are working towards it. So it's very possible Mr. Macean had lawful immigration status at some point, and if he was arrested for crimes and not convicted, he can't be detained and deported if he's lawfully here.
So when the charges are dropped, essentially, right, at that point they just say you just go back out into society. There's no, you know, at that point they're not saying, okay, well, you did something wrong, so you have to go back to Haiti.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
If you have a lawful immigration status, it could be temporary protected status. You could have lawful permanent residence or a green card. Not every crime that you're arrested for and not every crime you're convicted of can lead to deportation. So certainly just being arrested doesn't lead to deportation in every case.
In this particular case, we're talking about somebody now who is charged with first-degree murder, right? So he would go through the system as any American would go through the system, is that right? Or how does that work since we're now not sure if he's supposed to be here?
Right, he has an ICE detainer on him, which is a written request from ICE to tell the Volusia County Sheriff, listen, before you release this guy, we want to talk to him to see if he is subject to being detained and deported. So what will play out is he will be prosecuted, and as long as he stays in the custody of the Volusia County Sheriff or the Department of Prisons, Florida State Prison System, ICE is not going to touch him. They are going to let the justice be served and see what happens in the criminal case long before they try to ascertain whether they can detain him and deport him.
Do these kinds of cases frustrate you as an immigration attorney? Sort of what is your thought when you look at a case like this one?
Yeah, it is very frustrating because this is a horrible tragedy. This is a horrific crime. This is something that is obviously senseless and did not need to happen. But it doesn't have anything to do with Mr. Macean's immigration status. He didn't commit these crimes because he had no lawful status here in the United States, if in fact he didn't have any lawful status. And so it is very frustrating from that point of view. Is just like every Haitian foreign national doesn't come to the United States to commit crimes. That's just not how it works. And so it is very, very frustrating. Justice needs to be served in this case, and it will be long before we determine whether or not he can be detained and deported.
All right, Attorney John Gihon, always great to have you. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. All right, at 8:16.